Welcome and thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for choosing Mighton Sixth Form as your post-16 provider for your child. And the first thing to say, and I always say this every year, I think, is congratulations. And students obviously always get congratulated on getting through their GCSEs, but I do think that actually parents need congratulating as well, because actually Year 11 is a pretty tough year, and I would say that you have all made it through, and last year was particularly tough. So congratulations to making it to Sixth Form, because it was a really, really tough year. And I hope Sixth Form is going to be a positive experience, and as we move hopefully away from more health issues, a really positive educational experience for both you and your child or children. So that's the first thing. What we've done this evening, tonight's going to be sort of information, but if you do have any questions, if you'd like to email any questions you have to sixthform@mighton.co.uk. What we thought we'd do is, if you email any questions you have, we will do a frequently asked questions paper that we'll send out tomorrow. So tomorrow, look out for, via school-post, this presentation, which will get sent to you, a parent carer booklet, and an FAQ combination of any questions, because hopefully we will have then answered any questions or queries that you may have. So during the course of this session, please do email the sixthform@mighton.co.uk email address. So just to introduce you first of all, now obviously the students by now will know who the Sixth Form team are, but let me introduce the team to you. So I am Julie Stevens. I am head of Sixth Form and obviously in charge of the whole caboodle, as I say. And I have a overview obviously of Year 12 and 13 from an academic point of view, as well as a pastoral point of view. But we are a growing Sixth Form. We have joined us in this year. So I am joined ably by my two heads of year. So Mrs. Millington, who is assistant head of Sixth Form but responsible for Year 13, and then Mr. Garner, who's assistant head of Sixth Form responsible for Year 12, who will be speaking later on tonight, and who obviously has the oversight of this year group. Obviously, we are all teaching members of the team, but we do require a lot of support. Sixth Form, there's an awful lot of administration and other things that go on in Sixth Form. So the admin team are a really, really important part of the Sixth Form team at Mighton. Mrs. Walkinshaw is a Sixth Form manager, and Mr. Griffin is a Sixth Form administrator, and they basically keep the whole thing running smoothly. So any administration queries go to that Sixth Form@mighton.co.uk mailbox, and they pick up those and deal with those queries there. Pastoral support, Mrs. Voss is our pastoral support leader. She's there for people who have issues perhaps with well-being, are feeling a bit down, need a bit of emotional support, and Mrs. Voss is there for that pastoral support role, and she's a non-teaching member of staff, but absolutely crucial to the Sixth Form team. If there are any students who have SEND issues, Mr. Simmons is the Sixth Form lead for SEND, so any queries about that to him. And finally, Mr. Coffey is the careers advisor, and he obviously is careers advisor for Mighton, but he does spend a lot of time dealing with careers issues related to Sixth Form. However, it is not just us who are dealing with the issues or any issues that your sons or daughters may have. So form tutors are the first port of call for any queries. So everyone in Year 12 and 13 has a form tutor. Contact details for all tutors will be in the parent carer booklet, which you will get tomorrow. Subject teachers and their contact details will be in the parent carer booklet as well. They are obviously the first port of call for any subject queries. But also really important, we have a leadership group of student leaders who are called our Senate. There are about 40 or so of those. And they are really, really important, I think, for students to sort of, engage with and have another student to sort of give them some guidance. And our subject ambassadors as well are also student support for subjects. But our Senate group, they are led by our senior Senate team, and students in Sixth Form will notice the Senate members because they have a gold lanyard. But our Effectively, our senior Senate team, our student leaders are Emily, George, Pav, Alex, Imogen, Ollie and Sam, and they are led by Emily and Ollie, who are effectively our heads of Senate, or I suppose in old money, head boy, head girl. So there's lots and lots of people to support students at Myton Sixth Form, and we really do see ourselves as a community, and I think that that's really important. And one thing we're really focused on this year is making sure that community works as effectively as it can, because we're no longer in bubbles or zones, and we can actually work together, and that's something we're really striving for this year. So as I've mentioned already, there are some key documents that will come to you tomorrow. As I said, there is a parent carer booklet that will come to you tomorrow with sort of key dates, key contact details, and just sort of advice and guidance on supporting your children through year 12. You'll get that on email tomorrow. The student handbook. All students have a student handbook, which is effectively an A to Z of everything about sixth form. Students were given those on the induction day, but they are a really useful point of reference. So please check out that, because that gives students, well, and parents to some extent as well, everything they need to know about sixth form. And parents, if you are new to Myton, you will have been sent a numerous sort of consent forms and bits of information to deal with regarding IT policies, code of conduct, etc., biometric registration. So please return any of those documents promptly so that we can make sure that students are fully able to use all the facilities at Myton. So as I say, please look out for information via SchoolPost tomorrow, as you will get this presentation and other details sent to you via SchoolPost. The recording of this evening will also be available at the link you're using for some time, so you could come back and revisit any information if you needed to. So a few key dates for the year. This is in the parent information booklet, but I just wanted to point out a few dates for you. So obviously we've got our orientation evening this evening, which will hopefully set in motion and give you a flavour for the year. We do have a non-uniform day for charity on Friday, which is Jeans for Jeans, and it's a sixth form only day. So please make sure that students come armed with £1. It's not on parent pay, it is cash only for that. So please make sure they've got £1 on Friday. Hopefully you will have received a letter about the UK University and Apprenticeship Search Fair, which is at Edgbaston Cricket Ground on the 28th. This is a trip I set up originally for year 13. It was originally designed to be last summer, but it's been moved forward to the autumn. Year 13 obviously have had first choice to go, but there are places available. So if your child is thinking, I'm not really sure where I'm going after sixth form, it might be a really good opportunity for them to go. That is now on parent pay. It's £5.95. It's just the cost of the coach. So if you'd like to sign up for that, it's a really, really good opportunity to meet universities, apprenticeship providers, employers, gap year providers, and just give students some of the options that they might face post 18. You will have received a letter about that last week. I'll make a little bit of a marketing plea for our whole school open evening. We're back to face-to-face open evenings. So we've got a big whole school open evening on the 30th, and we are going to be looking out for year 12 volunteers, particularly to be guides on that night. And I'll talk a bit about volunteering in a minute, but please pop that date in your diary, as we'd really like year 12 to get involved volunteering and being guides that night. It's going to be a big event, and we really want to make it a good event for prospective year 6 parents. There will be some assessment of year 12 as they go through the year. So just for your information, there will be some sort of light touch transition tests to see how students are doing at the beginning of October. And there are also some progress exams, a little bit heavier, but they're in lessons. We're not putting them in exam halls quite yet, and there are some of those in January. So be aware of those assessments coming up. We have a sixth form open evening in November, and again we'll be looking for volunteers from students that night. And then we have a year 13 parents evening in December, but for any students in year 12 who are finding transition a bit difficult, perhaps not coping with workload, we will potentially invite any students from year 12 to that evening if needed. We've got some more non-uniform days. When we get to March, a very important evening date for your diary is the post-18 options evening. That's a really good evening, which again gets you focused and thinking about what are the options post 18 and what happens after Mighton. And then the final date to draw your attention to is Work Experience Week. There is a week of work experience for Year 12 in May, and students will be expected to find a work experience placement. I'm just going to say that at this point, we will obviously launch that with students, and you will get much more information on that later. We're really hoping that work experience is going to be very productive in 2022. So if you've got some thoughts and ideas or contacts and have some ideas about work experience, start thinking about that now, and that's the 23rd to the 27th of May. That gives you a bit of a flavour of the year. There is obviously a parents' evening and there will be some summer exams, but the dates are all in your parent carer booklet, which will be coming to you tomorrow. Okay, so what have we got in place at school to help students succeed? Well, we have study areas. The sixth form spaces are a combination. We have sixth form only rooms, and we have a variety of different study spaces. So we have an independent learning room, which is a silent study area, which is largely year 13, but year 12 can use it as well. We have a GLR, a group learning room. That tends to be the room where year 12 tend to study. Now, I suspect that we might get a few questions about space in the GLR. That always comes up as an issue. So what I would say is, yes, you will be, year 12 are largely scheduled into the GLR for their study periods when they're expected on site. But if it does get very busy, they can work elsewhere. And the ILR will be very free when year 13 are on break. And the LRC, which is on a rota, again, they can choose to work there. They just need to sign in the GLR, and then they can go and find a space elsewhere. There is plenty of space available. It's just knowing where to go, and it's about training students. So year 12, please do feel you can go to other rooms, sign in where you are supposed to be registered, and then you can find space elsewhere if you find the GLR is getting a bit crowded. And it is a bit crowded at the moment, so we're pushing people into different spaces. That is fine. We also have the PLR, which is the Pastoral Learning Room, which is a quieter, it's a smaller study space. There are computers in there, and some students prefer that for work. So we do have a variety of workspaces, hopefully something for everyone in there, which will allow students to work on site. And one thing we're really keen on working on this year is really promoting that on-site study to make sure students are really focused. I think one of the things that lockdowns have shown us is that actually many students find it very difficult to organise and manage their time working at home. Not all, but a lot to do. And so therefore, training students, making sure they're really, really focused and they know how to study on site, that's something we're really focused on getting back in place. It's how we've always operated as a sixth form, but COVID had changed things a bit. And so we're really working on that with our students as we go forward with this year. The other key resources we've got are electronic, I suppose. So Satchel 1, it was formerly called Show My Homework, but that's where all home learning, guidance from staff on subject work will be on there. I would recommend that students get the app on their phone as well as checking it on a computer. And I would also recommend that students get their Outlook email app on their phone as well, because we do send a lot of information to sixth formers via email. We have a very large sixth form, and as a team, one way we communicate with students is school email. It does become important, and also it sets them up for the workplace. So alongside that, obviously, there's the issue of phones. So phones is a sixth form prerogative. They are allowed to use phones in sixth form only areas. They are not allowed to use phones around site, but they can use them in the sixth form study areas and sixth form only spaces. And we do obviously encourage use of electronic devices to support learning, but obviously not to support procrastination. I'll talk a little bit later about the 16 to 19 bursary, but that is about financial support for families who may need that, and I'll talk about that in a bit more in a minute. Okay, additional to that, as well as obviously the subjects that you're studying, we do have other elements of sixth form, which I think are really important to make students a rounded individual, prepare them for the workplace, prepare them to go out into the world as decent human beings, essentially. So we offer a life skills program, Every year 12 will have a compulsory life skills session, either with myself or Mr. Garner, which covers elements of PSHE, relationship, sex education, careers. We have outside speakers in there and a variety of other sort of topics as well. And they also have an academic enrichment session, and that academic enrichment gives them an opportunity to invest in themselves, whether it's through online learning, doing a qualification such as an EPQ, whether it's volunteering, whether it's sort of picking up any work experience, or whether it's developing their study skills. And they've had a menu of options to choose, and students should have chosen that option by now. I do see this as really, really important. Yes, sixth form is about subjects, but it's also about the whole individual. So academic enrichment, life skills, tutor programme, enrichment on a Wednesday afternoon, that's what makes us a rounded human being. And we do have to balance all those elements, and sixth form really is about balancing all those things as we make that transition into adulthood. As part of that academic enrichment, we offer the EPQ. And again, students hopefully will have had an opportunity to decide whether or not they want to do this. So the EPQ is an additional qualification. We offer it to everybody in year 12. They do not have to do it, and even if they start it, it is not compulsory to complete. It is a big body of work, and it's effectively half an additional A-level. But it is great. It's absolutely brilliant for developing research skills, for preparing students for particularly university, but enabling them to manage time, manage research, manage their investigation and critical thinking skills. We run the AQA Level 3 Extended EPQ, and as I say, it has UCAS tariff points equivalent to half an A-level. Some universities will give a reduced offer if you have a good EPQ. Other universities are not so worried about that, but it might be that a student just wants to develop an EPQ because they haven't got a subject that covers something they're really passionate about, and perhaps they want to develop that. So do talk to your children about whether or not they're interested in the EPQ. They would have chosen that or not, potentially as part of their academic enrichment. If they change their mind, then come and see me, and we could always potentially find them a space on that. But the EPQ is something we offer to all students, but it is not compulsory. Volunteering. I think volunteering is hugely important. So we do expect year 12 to complete 30 hours of volunteering, which is effectively an hour a week. I've already talked to year 12 about this, and they will get a booklet about it more, but I think volunteering supports our own well-being. It helps us give back to our community, and it really develops our skills, and it's something great to add into our CV and add into any applications later on. So we do want all year 12 to complete 30 hours of volunteering. We do have awards and certificates for that. As you can see, lots of students, get silver and gold awards for volunteering across the year, and even the platinum and rhodium if they've really, really been proactive. They can volunteer on site or off site. So taking part in helping out at open evening would count as on-site volunteering, or helping out in a perhaps year 7 lesson for a subject they really enjoy. That would be on-site volunteering. And I know actually I've already had some amazing reports of year 12s who've done some great work in lessons on site already. However, it might be that they want to volunteer with a local food bank, or they want to volunteer in a local charity shop, or with Park Run. There are loads and loads of opportunities. So please do encourage your children to get involved in volunteering, find out what they're doing. We do monitor and log it, and as I say, 30 hours. It's just 1 hour a week. It's great for the CV, it's great for building communication skills and making ourselves employable and proactive. And I do think volunteering helps you feel better about yourself as well. So it's got all sorts of benefits. So please encourage students to get involved in that. Careers. Mr. Coffey, as I said earlier, is our careers advisor. He is involved. He's available to talk one-to-one with students about careers guidance. So he's available to support students, but he also does set up lots of opportunities. So he will be coming to our the careers fair at Edgbaston on that trip in September. He's also involved in our work experience programme, but he also sets up lots of events and support and networking. Now, a lot of these things have been virtual in the last year, but we're really hoping we can get some of these events on site and get sort of particularly the speed networking. That's a great careers event that usually goes on in year 12, and some of the providers on site. So Mr. Coffee is there, and obviously part of year 12, we do building careers into the programme for year 12 students. 16 to 19 bursary. This is a fund for, it's means tested fund, but it's a fund to support learning post 16. So please do look into it. If you have been eligible for pupil premium as a family, if you have an income of sort of around 27,000, then you would be eligible for the bursary. If you were on free school meals when you were in year 11, then obviously you would be eligible for the bursary. But it's an absolutely brilliant fund to support learning. So that means that it can help with things like laptops, trips, all resources that are needed, paper files, etc. But also some sort of clothing allowance as well. So if you think you may be eligible for the 16 to 19 bursary, and I know some people have already applied, you do have to apply. Please go and look on our website, and I've kind of copied the image from our school website for you here, but also go up to finance and they can help with the application. But it is a really, really good scheme. If you are eligible, please take advantage of that, because it does really help. Okay, final thing from me. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Garner in a minute, but the key thing for me and success for me in sixth form is not actually about intelligence. I genuinely do believe that. There are three real key things. The key thing is attendance. If students are here, if they're in their lessons, if they're working, they will succeed, okay? Students who don't attend don't succeed. That's the bottom line, and the research is really clear on that. Attendance is absolutely paramount. Appearance, I am a fan of appearance. I am a fan of, I think if you present yourself well, I think you show purpose, and I think you present yourself purposefully, then therefore you encourage people to feel positive about you, and you also feel positive about your success, and that breeds success. So I think appearance is important. And application. Obviously, we do have to apply ourselves. Sixth form is hard work. I know some students have already started saying to me, gosh, there is a lot of work, isn't it? I really need my study periods. Yes, you do. But if you apply yourself, if you follow those three things, you will be successful at sixth form. And as I say, intelligence is very, very small proportion of success at sixth form. So in terms of attendance, this is what we're looking at in terms of attendance. If you have attendance of 97% or more, you are likely to achieve the grades you are capable of. But that really does start to drop as your attendance drops off. So please do make sure attendance, it's the primary thing that affects success post 16. And once you get below 90%, you're very likely to sort of drop a whole grade, and that can be really catastrophic for your future. So attendance is the primary thing in terms of focus. So I think I'm going to hand over now to Mr. Garner. Mr. Garner, are you there? And he's going to talk about organisation, I think.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stevens. Okay, so you'll have seen from my happy smiley picture, my name is Thomas Garner. I am Year 12's head of year, but more importantly, I think I will be Year 12's head of year when they're in Year 13 as well. So we're going to go through the whole of sixth form together. And I'm going to talk about the tools that we're going to equip our Year 12 students with by the time they leave Myton School. It's really important that we can sort of work together collaboratively to help enforce and sort of embed these tools for our students. The main one for us is going to be the pictures of the files, the organisation skills. And we're going to work together with our Year 12 students to ensure that they can practice, and they're in a good space to practice, how to keep their days and their weeks and their years organised. So they have 3, maybe 4 subjects each. Each of them will have sort of a wide range of work to complete, some assignments, some exams, lots of notes writing in each lesson, lots of study periods. It can all get a little bit too much if they don't keep on top of it. So this year, I don't know if you can see my little picture, we have got every single student a diary. If they don't have a diary, they can come and see me and get one. And in the diary, we have day-by-day pages where our students are encouraged every single Monday to plan the rest of the week. Okay, so that's just making sure that they make the most of every single study period that they have. It's really easy if we don't plan ahead And it's the same for home learning as well. If we don't plan what we're going to do, really we don't have a goal to work towards, and it can be really difficult to stay on track with that goal as well. Next picture we've got some highlighters. So that's looking at revision, that's looking at keeping organised within your notes. So again, we do academic enrichment and life skills and skills within tutor time to try and encourage students to try different techniques to keep organised with all their notes, to keep it really neat, keep it really clear, and something that everyone can use at a later date. For every hour that students spend in lesson, we would expect another hour outside of lesson. Okay, and that sounds like a lot, but that does include lots of independent study time at school as well. So lots of it can be done here with a little bit of work at home. The pictures of books, we've probably guessed, is wider reading, and students should be, hopefully, really enthusiastic about the A-levels that they have chosen, and we encourage our students to sort of share that enthusiasm with you, so open conversations with you at home, and do a little bit of wider reading about what interests them. Even though it might not appear on an exam, it really does come across through exams and coursework that student really does know what they're talking about, and they really are passionate and enthusiastic about it, especially if they want to go onto degrees, further education. It all adds up. Our last three pictures I'm kind of going to combine into one, because it is more about revision. It's about how our students revise. Now, the big thing at working at home is to have a clear space to work, a space where they can be free of distractions, and that they can use some materials that they've either made in school or they can sit down and make it at home. So it's working with the students at home to ensure that they have space, they have time to do that work. Okay, and it's not a punishment. I don't think working from home should be a punishment for students, but just being free of a phone and free of distractions for us is sort of the first big hurdle. If we could do more than 10 minutes at a time, that would be amazing. And then diaries, the bottom right corner. Actually, diaries aren't just for school. Diaries are offered all the time for homework and for working from home as well. So it's encouraging, opening conversations with what work are you going to do today? What do you want to achieve? Can you help them? Can we sit down? Do you want to talk to me about it? Do you want to share what you're reading? Do you want to tell me about it? Is there a video we can watch? I know for some forensic investigation lessons that I lead, there are some fantastic BBC programs that we can watch on iPlayer. So it's things like that we need to sort of open the discussion for, just to encourage our students to study at home. We can go for the next slide, please, Ms. Stevens. So it's all building up for our toolkit. And we're going to, if we get all of these there we go. Okay, so all of our subjects, information for all of our subjects comes from a specification, okay? And every single teacher will know and be able to tell the students which exam board the exams run through, and also sort of point them in the right direction to find all the information they could possibly need. So you can either get your information from your teacher, or you can just go onto Google, type in the course that your student is on, your child on, and it will tell you the exams that are going to be run, what they need to know, how long the course will last. It'll even break down modules. It'll give you ideas of all the modules for this year and next year. So there should be no surprises for the students about what they need to learn and when they're going to learn it. It's a lot of information though, so keeping organised is obviously another theme. Keeping organised on all this information and just trusting your teachers will take you through that huge 2-year course on time and make sure you learn everything as you go. The diaries will have new study periods dotted around though, and I just want to make clear that we haven't put in the study periods the same for everybody. Not everybody has exactly the same amount of study periods on their timetable. We just want to encourage any trap time that we've got in school to be used effectively, okay? Because it's not any good wasting that time, because then more work needs to be done at home. So it kind of all adds up, it all snowballs. So helping your child manage their time at home, I think, is another big part of revision. A simple to-do list, if they're not going to use their diary, a simple to-do list for what they're going to do each day really does make a difference. Can we go to the next one, please, Miss? But it can be difficult working from home. I know I really struggled when I was in school working from home, just because it was a very, very busy house. And it's helpful to have somewhere that is effective to work. But what does effective mean? Effective means without distractions as much as possible. It means somewhere that they are comfortable to work in. So somewhere that they've got a chair and a table at the right height for them, and somewhere that they can sort of leave their phone out the way and get some of their to-do list jobs done. It's difficult to be without a phone though. And I know a lot of our students do love using their phones. Some of them use it to help their studies, which is fantastic. Others, there's a lot of pings and buzzes and ringtones that come through them, which can distract. We kind of work to a 10-minute rule. If they can be without it for 10 minutes, if they can just at least get started on a piece of work, then that should help encourage them to finish it. Okay, it could be leaving the phone downstairs, could be leaving it with you, anything that would help. I know you can buy those little tubs that have a little timer on when they unlock. That's quite extreme, but if it's an issue, you need to think about that, don't we? Healthy lifestyle is a big one. We're talking about time we go to bed, and I know the pandemic, the lockdowns that we had, really a lot of students suffered, not just in sixth form, with trying to stick to their routine, stick to their sleeping routine, but also eating a healthy lifestyle as well. So staying healthy, it helps, scientifically speaking, helps for their memory, it helps for their sleep, if we're thinking about sugars, and it helps them stay on top of everything they've got to do, because it is quite a lot they've got to do. Is there one more on this slide, Miss? Wonderful. Communication is key. It is absolutely key, even if it's as small as, tell me what you did today. Tell me what was in your English lesson today. What book are you reading? Any kind of discussion you can get with your students at home will help. Okay, it will encourage them to, even them to think about it. Okay, so being at home doesn't mean that we switch off from school. It's just keeping it ticking over, ready for the next day. So, Ms. Stevens has already mentioned Satchel 1, which will show my homework. Lots of work from teachers is going to be posted on there. So you have access to it as a parent, and they have access to it as a student. There is a little app that you can put on your phone as well, so everyone can really stay up to date with work that's being set. Wider reading may come from teachers, but depending on what subject you're doing, it could come from your children, the students, about what they're interested in, what they want to go away and read, what they want to go away and write notes on. And also revision is a big one, and revision can be so complicated if you look at all the different strategies and methods to revise. But what it comes down to, the research shows the crux of revision should be based on exam questions, should be answering those questions, but then checking the answers yourself, marking it yourself, and then seeking feedback from either teachers or other students that are on the same course to act upon anything to improve. Okay, and it's this kind of cycle of test, mark, feedback that students should get into the habit of, and we're going to try and get students into the habit of over the next 2 years. It is by far the best way to learn and to remember key bits of information.
Thank you, Mr. Garner. That was great. And yeah, absolutely. Supporting children and students at home is absolutely fundamental to get them through a successful sixth form period. There are some pitfalls. So just a few things to look out for. Procrastination is a massive kind of issue when it comes to sixth form. Oh, goodness, it's gone forward for me. So do check out procrastination and time wasting. Often students do say, oh yes, I am doing something, but they're often procrastinating and doing busy work. Perhaps just sort of, rereading notes, which is often ineffective. As Mr. Garner said, it's practice questions actually that are the most successful types of revision. So procrastination, or spending a lot of time organising their folder but never actually doing anything with that folder, can be a form of procrastination. So that can be a pitfall that students fall into. And again, lack of communication. Please, 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 if students who are listening today and parents, if you are not sure, if you are thinking, I'm really not coping in this subject, please contact us. Please talk to your parents, please talk to subject teachers, please talk to tutors, please talk to members of the sixth form team. If we know that there are issues, and believe you me, there will be, all year 12 will always feel uncertain at some point. They will always feel like they're drowning at some point. They will always feel like it's not going well for them. That is really common, but lack of communication, keeping it to yourself, that can be a real barrier. And if we know, then we can support you and hopefully give you reassurance to move forward. If in doubt, so where to get help if we get to a point where things are not going brilliantly. The school email is really important, lots and lots of information on there. But please, first port of call, if there are problems, contact Form Tutor. If there are admin issues, anything to do with absence, please contact Mrs. Walkinshaw and the admin team. Any worries about pastoral issues, sense of well-being, not feeling happy, that kind of stuff, just want somewhere to go and, cry a little bit, Mrs. Voss is the person for that. And if there are any issues with SEND, Mr. Simmons is the person to speak to there. As you've heard from Mr. Garner, he's head of year 12, so he's obviously kind of first, after tutors, really, really important person in year 12's life throughout sixth form, so he's someone to get in. And then obviously academic issues, but wider issues, then obviously come to me as well. And my door is always open to students, whichever year they are in. So please get in touch if there are any problems, but do also support students at home because it's really, really helpful. Our email address for sixth form is sixthform@mighton.co.uk, and if you use that email address, then we will direct as needed, or you can contact the individuals themselves. During the course of sixth form, you will get an ATL, or students will get ATLs. So the first data collection we will be doing will be an attitude to learning. These are slightly different to the ones used in main school if you are a parent who's been at Mighton for some years. So ATLs, these are the ATLs that we measure sixth form's attitude to learning by. So you will probably get data during the course of the year which gives you an ATL, and obviously we're looking at 4s across the board, and we have a reward system, so students who are getting 4s across the board would be rewarded for that. During the course of the year as well, you will get a tracker report. You'll also get a long report at the end of year 12, but you will get bits of data that comes across the year, and that will probably be a sort of a current grade or a working at grade, potentially a target grade as well, although I have to say we're a little bit unsure of how we're going to work out target grades at the moment, so that's a bit of a work in progress. But there will be data that comes through during the course of the year to show where students are and how, whether they're on track, and that will give you information about your child's learning across the year. A word about part-time work. Now, obviously, year 12 is a time of, beginning to sort of have some more freedom. There will be more social life that occurs during year 12. That inevitably happens. And obviously, students will have part-time work. And it may be that they've been working over the summer. It is a really important skill, and obviously we do encourage students to have part-time jobs because it's about responsibility. It helps them develop communication skills, dealing with people they've not met before. It's really important for personal development. It could potentially lead to something post-18 as well. But please remember, sixth formers are full-time students, so it's really important to balance that part-time work because it can really cause a problem with managing workload. And my rule of thumb is 10 hours a week. If you are doing more than 10 hours a week, the research is really, really clear. Again, if you're tired, you can't work. If you're doing too much part-time work outside of school, then your grades do start to reflect that. So 10 hours per week would be my advice on part-time work. Work-life balance is really, really important. And particularly at the moment, there are a lot of part-time jobs around actually, and I know that sort of the youth market is very, very important for hospitality. But if employers are being perhaps wanting you to do too many hours, then I would really, so it's important to say no. I am a full-time student, and so therefore we need to restrict hours because that work-life balance can be a massive problem. So please, please do keep an eye on that work-life balance and particularly part-time work. And as I say, 10 hours per week, I think is absolutely plenty for students who are full-time students doing 3 A-levels or BTECs or A-level equivalents. So it's all about planning. I hope what we've given you today is this idea that actually success post 16 is about planning, it's about organisation, it's about work-life balance, it's about attendance, it's about all those kind of things that make sure that young people are prepared for learning. And really, I think the sort of intellect element is a minor part of it. Students who are organised, proactive, and really do work thoroughly, they are the ones who are successful post 16, and it's those skills that we need to nurture and develop, because everyone can succeed and we want everyone to do their absolute best, but being organised is really important. So I think that's a really important quote. If we fail to prepare, prepare to fail, and I think that's very true in life, and it's certainly true at sixth form. But we hope that at the end of 2 years that you will realise your dreams, and this was some of the class of 2019. We have a hugely diverse range of places that students go on to, whether it's degree apprenticeships, whether it's university. A lot of our students do go to university, but it is by no means an expectation, and no means the only thing that you can do. And as I say, here's our class of 2020. Lots of them going on to do different things and finding their own pathway. And it's very much sixth form. We want people to succeed. We want people to go on and find out who they are and be the best person they can be that is right for them. So we obviously really look forward to working with your children over the next 2 years. If you have any questions at all, please email them to sixthform@mighton.co.uk. Please look out for the school post communication that will come to you tomorrow with this presentation, but also the sixth form parent and carer booklet. And yeah, thank you very much for choosing us. I hope this has been an informative evening for you. Any questions to us, and thank you very much for joining, and I will let you go at this point to enjoy your evening. So thank you ever so much for your time.